Well, first of all, my name's Marguerite. That's Jim over there who got you all signed in. We both work for New Orleans Habitat for Humanity. And we've got Bradley and Mac and Henry and
Danielle and Lizzie.
Danielle and Lizzie are over there. So they're going to be your site supervisors today, and they're going to talk to you about the work ahead and safety briefings and all of that good stuff. But first of all, I just want to say welcome to New Orleans and the Lower Ninth Ward. And thank you so much for your service and for agreeing to come out to volunteer today. You are about to jump into some very physical work, and we're going to divide you a little bit according to who wants to be very physical and who might want a little bit lighter duty, because we all find our own level. I tend to be power saw challenged, so they never let me near the tools, but I'm really good on a ladder, so you know, we all find our spots. But first of all, how many of you are from New Orleans? Okay, we've got a few locals, so see those faces because they're going to be able to fill in the gaps for you about our story and kind of what's going on. Anybody from Louisiana who's not New Orleans? Okay, a couple more. All right. So for most of you, how many of you have been in the Lower Ninth Ward before? Okay. So I know some of you are a lot younger, but for those of us who were here and lived through it, you need to know that Hurricane Katrina, even though we're going on almost 15 years ago, it feels like it was yesterday. I lost my home in Katrina. We had 9 feet of water in a one-story house. And, you know, most of the city, no matter where you lived, except for like 2 neighborhoods, our homes were destroyed, you know, all the infrastructure was gone. And many visitors who come here go, well, how can it not be farther along, given how long ago it was? But New Orleans is not a wealthy city. We don't have Fortune 100 companies. We are not New York. So recovery has taken us a lot longer. And you also have to realize that all of the infrastructure was destroyed as well. And the Mississippi Gulf Coast was hit very hard. New Orleans flooded, and then it sat and it marinated in this kind of heat for 3 weeks. And it, you know, everything was pretty much destroyed or gone. So it takes a long time. The neighborhood that you're in was the one that most of you saw on CNN, on that replay over and over of people being rescued from rooftops. And you know, when you meet people who live in this neighborhood, you just need to be sensitive to that and be aware of that. I can tell you that this neighborhood had one of the highest percentages of home ownership in the city. It was over 65%, and it was predominantly African American and a very high ratio of home ownership versus rentals. So it's particularly meaningful to be working in the Lower Ninth Ward for us. Now the houses you're going to be working on, there's that yellow house right there and the green one behind you. You will notice both of these are doubles, and these are going to be rentals. Habitat actually has a program we call our incubator program for people who need to rent before they stabilize enough to buy their home through Habitat. So you're going to be working on houses. You know, we are short a lot of housing stock in this part of the city. And you think about buying a home, it's probably the biggest decision anybody would ever make financially in their lives for most Americans. So Habitat thought, well, it makes sense to let people rent before they buy, because the Lower Ninth Ward doesn't have a grocery store yet. It doesn't have a dry cleaners. We have schools, we have a community center. We finally got a CVS a year ago, and that was big news. So people are waiting to see, and it's kind of a chicken or the egg. You know, the stores and the retailers say we need more houses, but you know, it's like, what comes first? People don't want to come back until they have all the support services. So the faster we can build, the faster we can get people into houses, the faster the whole neighborhood is lifted up and people can come home. And people are still trying to come home, I promise you. They're still coming back from Texas and Arkansas and Utah, you name it. They're still traveling in and making their way back home. So that's all I'm going to say about Habitat. The last thing you should know is Habitat does not give houses away. People buy their houses. We are the builders and the lenders. It's a 0% interest loan, and that's what keeps it affordable. So that's an important thing. Everybody seems to think we give houses away. I wish we could, but we don't. But it is very much a message of self-empowerment and autonomy and ownership. So Bradley, you want to talk a little bit about your team and what's going on?
Sure. Welcome everybody.